There once was a boy who lived in a strange little house. It had walls made of old wooden planks, a roof that sometimes groaned in the rain, but no door. The only opening to the outside world was a tiny window, so small that the boy had to kneel on a stool to peek through. From that little square of light, he could see a patch of green grass swaying in the wind, and if he stretched his neck high enough, a silver of blue sky. The boy was fragile. His arms were thin like branches. His skin pale from never stepping into the sun. His dark hair fell over his forehead, messy but soft. And his eyes were wide, bright, and full of wonder. Even though his body was weak, his smile was warm, the kind that could melt away silence. Every morning, he climbed onto a stool, rested his small hands on the rough wooden frame, and whispered almost like a prayer. "Ah, the sky is still here. The grass is still alive." The boy had learned something many grown people never did. Happiness was not about how much the world you could hold, but how deeply you could see the part that was given to you. His window was small, yet through it he discovered an infinity. To him, the patch of grass was a whole meadow, the slice of sky an endless universe. And for him, that was enough. One quiet morning, as the boy leaned against the window, a rabbit appeared in the grass. Its fur was white with patches of gray, and its black eyes sparkled with curiosity. The boy held his breath, afraid to scare it away. Slowly, he stretched out his thin hand through the window. His fingers brushed the tips of the cool grass. The rabbit sniffed the air, twitched its nose, and then hopped closer. That day, the rabbit only stared at him. But the next morning, it returned. This time, it carried a small carrot in its mouth and placed it gently on the window ledge. The boy's eyes widened. "For me," he whispered, his voice trembling with joy. From that day on, the boy and the rabbit became friends. The rabbit visited every morning, sometimes bringing berries, sometimes wild herbs. The boy would gently pet its soft fur through the window and share stories about the clouds he saw, the dreams he had, and the things he wished he could touch. Though he was alone in this house, he never truly felt lonely again. The boy's days were simple, yet full of wonder. He loved to watch the way the sunlight changed, golden and gentle in the morning, blazing and strong by noon, soft and pink by evening. Sometimes raindrops would slide down the glass, and he would trace them with his fingertip, pretending they were rivers flowing to unknown places. At night, he would rest his chin on the window frame and wait for the stars. He would tell the rabbit, who sometimes stayed nearby, "Do you see them? They look like tiny lanterns lighting a path somewhere far away." He dreamed of walking under that vast sky, feeling the earth beneath his feet, and running freely in the fields with his rabbit friend. But even though his dreams were filled with endless horizons, he never cursed his little house. He understood that bitterness would only shrink his world, while gratitude made even the smallest window open wide. And so he was content, not because he had everything, but because he had enough to wonder, enough to dream, and enough to love. One winter, the air grew colder. The boy's breath shaky, and his frail hands trembled as he held the food the rabbit brought. He knew his time was growing shorter, though he never said it out loud. The rabbit seems to sense it too. One morning, instead of food, it brought something different. A small flower, wilted but still beautiful, its petals clinging stubbornly to life despite the frost. The boy held it close to his chest. Tears welled in his eyes. "Thank you. You've given me more than food. You've given me friendship. You've given me the world through this window." On his final morning, the boy woke weaker than ever. His body refused to stand, so he crawled slowly to the window, clutching the flower the rabbit had given him. With all his strength, he pulled himself onto the stool one last time. The rabbit was waiting as always. The boy smiled, his lips pale, but his eyes shining. "Today, the sky is so blue," he whispered. "So endless, so kind." The rabbit pressed its nose against the window, as if trying to comfort him. The boy leaned his head against the frame, looking out at the grass, the sky, his one small piece of freedom. "I'm not sad," he said softly, "because I've seen the sky, I've touched the grass, and I've had a friend." With that final smile, the boy closed his eyes. His chest rose once, then fell gently. He was gone, peaceful, content, with the sky reflected in his last gaze. The rabbit stayed by the window all day, its soft body pressed against the wood, waiting. When the night came, it hopped into the grass and sat under the stars, as if keeping watch for the boy who could no longer see them. And though the house without a door remained silent, the small window still opened to the world, the same sky, the same grass, the same endless beauty. And somewhere in that quiet space between earth and heaven, the boy was running free. Finally outside, finally whole, smiling with the rabbit by his side.